Tales of the Sacred Sword. This week's tale asks, how well do you know the strangers you let into your home? Episode 36. I used to live here. With his child cradled in his one arm, Solo marched around his home. He picked things up and placed them about their proper areas. His child's toys, dishes, and even an old book that he had never read. It must have belonged to his wife. From above, he must have looked like a ball bouncing around the room. A new home and a new baby were a big adjustment for him and his wife, Pima. Speaking of his wife, as he tidied up, Pima chopped onions and carrots and plopped them in a cauldron. She smiled as she worked and wiped the sweat from her forehead with the back of her hand. She grabbed another carrot and was about to chop when a knock at the door interrupted her. Pima looked at her husband, who nodded in return. When Solo answered the door, he was greeted by a handsome man. The man wore all black leather and a smile, hidden by his leather hat.
Good afternoon. I don't mean to interrupt your day, but I was just in the area, and I used to live here and wanted to see what the place looked like now. It's been 7 years to the day since I last saw the place,
said the stranger. I was wondering about who owned this place before. The wife and I got it at the Lord's auction, and they couldn't or wouldn't tell us anything about the previous owners, said Solo.
May I come in?
Asked the handsome stranger. Solo looked at his wife, who nodded in return. Come on in, said Solo. The handsome man entered the little country home with a smile.
Ah, the living room. I came into this world here, said the handsome stranger.
His face lit up with the excitement at an otherwise mundane living area. It contained a table, 2 benches, and a cedar's chest containing the baby's toys. After seeing the startled expressions on Solo and Pima's faces, he continued.
Pardon my forwardness.
No worries, good master. I'm Solo and this is my wife Pima. And our daughter Sama, said Solo as he gestured to the handsome stranger to come further into the home.
Thank you. What is that delightful smell?
Asked the handsome stranger. He took off his leather coat and hung it on a hook to reveal a black silk shirt and black leather vest underneath. Just a simple stew, answered Pima.
To a nose that hasn't been in the country for some time, there is no greater smell,
said the handsome stranger. Pima shied her face away to hide her smile.
That kitchen is my favorite room,
said the stranger. Oh? A chef? Asked Solo.
Hardly. Although I would consider myself an artist. I created my masterpiece here,
said the stranger. Well, other than that, there's just the master bedroom and the side room, said Solo.
I spent most of my time in that side room. I don't really care to see it anymore,
said the stranger. Oh, where did you say you were headed? Asked Solo.
I didn't,
answered the handsome stranger. He rolled up his shirt sleeves and curled up the corner of his lip into a mischievous smile. Pima froze. Her knife remained motionless in the air. I missed your name, stranger. What did you say it was again? Asked Solo.
I didn't.
The handsome stranger took off his hat and placed it at the dining table. Solo handed their child to Pima and then turned back to the handsome stranger. He opened the door and gestured for the stranger to walk out with him. "Well, my family and I are about to sit down for dinner. Where did you say you were headed, stranger?"
"Nowhere,"
said the stranger. He bit into his wrist and spit blood into the air. The blood turned into long red strings that shot out at Solo and Pima. Before they could react, they were tied up in dozens of powerful red ropes. The ropes wrapped around their mouths, preventing them from speaking, but not their noses so they could still breathe. The handsome stranger spoke again.
"Some not so nice people used to live here. Not the church-going type. They did their own ceremonies here, right in this very living room. These were the kind of ceremonies the church don't necessarily approve of. They brought me into this world with the hopes of controlling me, to use me for their gain. But they were amateurs. They knew just enough to get me here and keep me here, but not enough to bend my will. They tried torture, but torture won't work on a tie will, for tie will are made of torture. 7 years they locked me in that side room, sealed away and cramped. But one day a crack broke in their seal and I escaped. I happened upon them eating supper, much as I happened upon you today. The last time I was in that kitchen, I made the most beautiful red painting."
The handsome stranger flourished an arm, and Solo and Pima saw visions of chaos and murder. Apparitions of men killed in their very kitchen. No wonder they had purchased this place so cheaply at the Lord's auction.
"With the dying breath of the last man, he banished me from this place. But even his banishment was amateurish. Some words not said quite right, some motions not quite right either, left me open a little window. You see, I only get to come back home to this house one day every 7 years. I might as well make the most of it."
The handsome stranger sauntered into the kitchen. He picked up the big wooden spoon and held it to his nose, taking in the myriad of flavors, before slurping a sip.
"While that stew is mighty good, I see something a little more appetizing on the menu,"
said the stranger. Solo and Pima looked at each other, then at their daughter, their eyes and mouths straining to communicate through the red ropes. The handsome stranger spoke as he shut the door.
"You should be more cautious with who you invite into your home."
Thank you for listening to this week's episode. I write and record these tales weekly. If you enjoy them, please click the like and subscribe buttons, along with the bell notification, and leave a comment. Thank you.